Hi, I'm Ryan Meeks, host of this podcast, The Path of Art. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and download the full podcast to your smartphone so that you get the full experience. There's a link in the description below.
And the way that I view art anyway is a little different than some. People tend to kind of take all the aspects of art and put it in one box. Mm-hmm. I take the craft out, and I call it the craft of what I do is knowing the orchestration, knowing the instrumentation. Mm-hmm. If you've got people out there who are cinematographers, their craft is knowing how to use their gear, knowing how to edit if they're an editor. The art, and there's art involved in all aspects of this,
right.
But for me, my art is kind of in my head and in my heart, and I have to make sure that my craft is high enough up that I've got the highest craft I can, that I'm really good at piano, I'm really good at hearing things, I have a good knowledge of lots of different musical styles. So when I get this idea, my craft doesn't get in the way of my art. And I think a lot of people who are in music, they go, oh, I hear this song in my head, but I can't get it down. I can't play it. I can't tell it. So I have to get somebody else to figure it out. And they get really frustrated, but that's because they haven't spent the time to get their craft honed. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing this for 4 decades, and I'm still honing my craft. I'm still listening to music every day. Ryan, what eventually happens if you have some mentors and some people that you think you want to be like, and you write like them, or maybe even you write a piece of music down that sounds like them, eventually you're going to replace their influence will be there, but your style will emerge. And now people tell me, oh yeah, I was told by a client, write some music with that Kurt Bestor sound, and so now I have a sound. And people know it when they hear it.
I think you do. Like, when I hear stuff and I'm like, I think this is Kurt Bestor. There's something about it.
And I'm not embarrassed by that. I know some composers, a friend of mine, Sam Carden, a good friend of mine, he oftentimes says, oh, I don't want people to recognize me. I don't want to have a definitive style because I'll get pigeonholed. But you can't do that. I mean, did Picasso get pigeonholed? Did John Williams get pigeonholed? Does Steven Spielberg get pigeonholed? I mean, when you get your style that recognizable, just treat it like a strength, and know that you can't write everything and you can't do everything. You can't please everybody, or you'll end up being milquetoast in all the different areas.
Right.
If you don't, and here's my little musical gospel message. If you really want to do something, you got to be passionate. And you could be a lawyer and be passionate. You could be a doctor. Accountant, maybe, but in terms of if you're passionate about music or passionate about art, go with it. I mean, go with it. Otherwise, you're not going to compete. I mean, I have friends who one guy ended up being an orthopedic surgeon so that he could have something to fall back on. Well, now he doesn't have any time to do music. He's too tired. He's lost. He hasn't been honing his craft. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not, naive enough to think that everybody can do it. It's hard. And I get jealous of my friends who have pension plans and health care and all that, since I have those things, but I have to do it myself, and it's more expensive and it's hard. And I'm working 6-7 days a week, sometimes long hours, whereas my friends are retiring. And I don't think I'll ever retire, because why? What do I retire to? I love what I do.
Yeah, most people retire to do something that they actually wanted to do, right? And you're doing what
I'm doing what I love, and so I guess the end of that comment is basically be passionate about what you're doing, and don't be afraid. Take a chance. Fear will breed creativity. But I would practice the piano, but I would also mess around on the piano. So when I was a little kid, I'd sit down and I'd just kind of mess around. I don't know what I was doing. I was just kind of like, I liked how sounds sounded, play different chords. I just like how they sound. And then I would take my piano piece, like a Bach piece or something, and I would jig it up, just kind of jazz it up. Mm-hmm. And my piano teacher, rather than getting mad at me, because I'd sometimes say, hey, listen to how I do this song. I do it different. She would say, Kurt, that's great. in the recital, I want you to play it two ways. Play it the way it's written and then play it your way. And she would let me do that. And thanks to her, that was kind of one thing. And my mom also noticed that I was messing around on the piano, and she said to me one day, and because I hated to practice, I just hated it. She said, "Kurt, put your music away." Oh, yes, I get to quit. No, I don't want. You're not going to quit. What I want you to do is I want you to play me a sunrise. That's exactly what she said. And I didn't really know what she meant, but she said, "Yeah, just kind of make up something and make it kind of sound like a sunrise." So I did that. And it probably sounded terrible. I don't, I'm not some little genius Mozart, I'm sure, but she just made me feel really great. It was like, "Oh, Kurt, I could see the sunrise. That was really wonderful." And I think at that moment, that was kind of the seminal moment for my career to start. So it was thanks to a real intuitive piano teacher and a mother who was also a piano player, but was kind of a creative English teacher who would think of outside the box like that. So now I had my art blossoming, and I saw a trajectory, and the trajectory was write music for film. And that's where I aimed my eyes. And I remember doing a movie for a kid at BYU called The Magdeburg Affair. It was pretty heady stuff. We didn't have all the synthesizers you have now, so I couldn't mock it up like an orchestra now. I had to actually ask my friends in the orchestra, "Hey, would you come? I'm going to bring some cookies and drinks.
Wow.
Would you come and play the session?" And we hired the studio and we had an orchestral score because we couldn't do it with synthesizers, which is kind of cool. And so I was off and running, and I think that trajectory kept me going for quite a while. Not to where I am today, though. However, I'll be mysterious about that. So you can ask a question. A lot of people, when they start out in any kind of artistic endeavor, they want to plan it all out. They go, "Okay, I'm going to go to art school, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get business cards, then I'm going to get a manager, then I'm going to get an agent," rather than just get in and just do it. It's don't try to think through it so much. Don't plan everything. If you're a cinematographer and good grief, we have phones now. We can do like a little movie with a phone and just to practice things. You don't have to wait until, I'm going to wait till I get enough money, and then I'm going to buy a really nice camera, and then I'm going to get all these computer things and do that. It's like, just jump in. So like I said, I was kind of dumb enough that I didn't really plan things out, but I was a good opportunist. And I think there is luck in life. There's luck in artistic life. How did you get the music for the Olympics? How did you get music for this? Everything kind of, I got little lucky things, but I took those opportunities.
Right.
At a certain point, you're going to find, anybody in the arts is going to find that if you're up for a gig, if you're up for a painting commission or a film project or a who knows what, you're going to be up against 10 other people, all who are equally talented. If at a certain point. So who do they want to work with? Here's something I wish I would have been told. What makes the difference is talent is a given. Who's on time, who's pleasant to work with.
Right.
There are people out there, I won't name names, but there are people that I work with who are talented, but they are so obnoxious to work with that I just don't want to do it. It's not fun. And, can you do it on budget? So just all those little personal things that have nothing to do with your art. An artist tend to be a little egotistical. It's like, "Oh, I can't believe you want me to change that note. That note came down from heaven." And, it's like, I just, at a certain point, you just say, "You know what? Lots of ways to skin a cat. I'll do it your way. That's fine."